gentlemen, good morning. Happy weekend to you. This is Rob, the Mad Hatter from the SBTV Nation, sitting here having a conversation with my boy, the evil genius, Dr. Dan. What is going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Took my first jump into the foray of college basketball last night, only to have Kentucky stick a dagger through my heart.
Oh.
But, I figured once they were up 11 at the half, it looked really good for them to cover the 20 and a half. But, Albany went on a late run. It is what it is. But I felt like dipping my toes in since I've really fallen back a little bit on college football, so I got to pick it up somewhere, man.
Oh, well, you know what? You got to watch these kids a little bit, Dan. These
yeah,
first couple of
but, I just
figured
Kentucky had 4 of the 5, all SEC team coming into the year. They're always, a dominant team. This tournament that they're playing, it was in Rupp Arena, against Albany. And look, I know a fair amount about Albany. I've actually seen them play years and years ago. They're a scrappy team, but I just figured that, Kentucky at home opened the year. They would absolutely kill them. I thought it was going to be 30 points. Hey, shows what you were saying, man. You got to watch it a little bit. But before we get going today, I just want to say again, all our thoughts and prayers, with the people in Paris, France.
Absolutely.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. Obviously, you can see how sport and politics intertwine in that. And, crazy enough to say it could have been worse, but for all the 120-plus people that lost their lives, RIP. And, hey, I hope that we can figure these things out in the world one day.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, definitely thoughts and prayers went out. All the victims, friends and family of all the victims out there, and just a tragic situation. And you know what? Hey, I just hope that they can get to the bottom of everything that's going on out there, man. So, all right, Dan. So taking a look at this, we are on Twitter right now at SBTV Nation, guys. So send us a follow, send us a retweet. We very much appreciate it. The NCAA football party continues over here at the biggest show in the world. Dan, I've been so amped for college football all week long.
I know you get to just sit back and chill in your house all day. We're getting that cold weather. It's going to be a nice day to sit back. There's some great games today, man.
Oh, some really good games, man. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right into them and have conversations and go back and forth basically on the games that you and I are particularly feeling. And then maybe we'll talk about one or two more or whatever. But probably not going to be the longest show in the world today, guys, just because, we're going to just basically kick it with the stuff that we're feeling and a little bit of breakdown of that, Dan. So, we'll be on today. Obviously, we'll be on tomorrow, Sunday at the same time. The Dream will be back. I think you scared the Dream today.
He didn't need another physical from the doctor, I guess.
He did not need another verbal beatdown from the evil genius, man.
Man, sometimes you just don't poke the bear.
Yeah, don't poke the bear. That was funny, man. Good stuff. So, yeah, Dan, we had a big week this week. We're just, NBA is in full swing. College basketball is in full swing. NHL, college football, the NFL.
I thought my guys were going to get your boy yesterday.
Oh, I know. The Knickerbockers. They played it pretty tough, though.
They did, and I love LeBron with his little elbow injury. Yeah. Oh, no, I can't shoot. My elbow hurts. Oh, man. But, no, they of course, blew it because they can't hold on to a lead. But, hey, this is such a hectic time of the year. I love it, though.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm sitting here, guys. I brought the equipment over to my crib today, and I'm sitting here at my kitchen table with a little TV up watching College Game Day as we do the show. And they are over at Oklahoma and Baylor today. What a game. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tonight. Baylor, obviously, with their backup quarterback, Garrett Stidham, at the helm because Seth Russell has the broken bone in his neck that required season-ending surgery. And this game goes on, like I said, at 8 o'clock tonight, man. But before we get into that game, Dan, I'm going to let you lead off with a game that is on your brain right out the gate. Which one are you looking at as far as collegiate football tonight? Or today?
Yeah, so, I figure we start off with an early game.
All right.
Get it started off right, and that is the West Virginia Mountaineers.
The West Virginia Mountaineers. Okay, so you're going off of the unranked slate.
I am, because, hey, it's West Virginia at home against Texas.
Okay.
And I believe, what's the Vegas line on that?
West Virginia -9 with an under over of 53 points.
And it's not. I've actually seen it at 8 as well, which is where if I was gonna go to Vegas and play it, I would get it at 8.
All right.
But I feel very comfortable there. Look, West Virginia does have a 4-4 record, but let's look at who those 4 losses are against. At Oklahoma. Home against Oklahoma State, which was a very close game, at Baylor and at TCU.
Okay.
They're coming off a home win against Texas Tech. And we're talking about Texas here, and if you look at Texas's losses, I mean, they're not even close to the, to the quality of schedule that West Virginia's had to play.
Got it.
I think West Virginia dominates them today.
You think West Virginia dominates Texas, huh?
Yes, I do.
Very interesting call, man. When I take a look at this particular game, I'm just pulling up some stats to take a look at, guys. Just give me a minute while you do that. So, you think they cover, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. You're talking about a Texas team. Their last road game was who? Iowa State.
Yep.
Do you remember? 24-0, Iowa State.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, this team plays terrible on the road. Terrible on the road. I mean, and then you're again talking about a team that, let's see, they beat Rice. They beat Oklahoma in the rivalry game, but you know what we always say about rivalry games. They beat K-State, and they beat Kansas last week. Those are their 4 wins.
Okay.
That doesn't, and as we said, on the road, they are even worse. So look, I think West Virginia really takes care of business here.
All right, and taking a look at West Virginia as far as interceptions gained by their defense, they're averaging almost 2 picks a game, bro, defensively.
Yeah, and, the other thing that I think I like about West Virginia here is, even at 4-4,
yep,
they still have a chance for a decent bowl game, because if they run the table, which is possible, because it's home Texas, at Kansas, home Iowa State, and then at K-State. So they finish 8-4. They'll still get a good bowl game.
Of course.
They'll still get a very good bowl game, especially when you factor in their losses are like to the top 6 teams in the country.
Okay. All right. So you are on the West Virginia Mountaineers today.
I love them.
All right. Sounds good. Well, you're going to kick it over to me to a game that's got me licking my chops. And you know what? I mean, before I even do this though, let's talk about the earlier stuff, because I think I'm on board with you as far as plugging earlier stuff before, just in case people are trying to do their thing over in their places. But I'm looking at Michigan State, number 13, playing Maryland today. Michigan State minus 15 points with an under-over of 56 points. I could tell you this much, man. Michigan State has got to be infuriated with their last loss versus Nebraska. So
yeah, but you know what? That's what we said all year, that we all thought this team was kind of a pretend team.
Yeah, definitely.
They should have lost at Michigan.
They should have lost at Michigan.
They should. And look, hey, you win the games, great. And I know that they basically got screwed into losing the Nebraska game, but if you think about it, I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yep.
But that's got to be such a kick in the where below the belt. And 15 points, I know they're home. They should cover against Maryland, but look, if you feel compelled, and I know a lot of people love playing Michigan State, just get it to 14 or 13.5.
I'm thinking under 10 points, you'll be pretty good in this affair.
Yeah, but I'm not touching it as far as I can throw it.
Yeah, this is a very light lean, just to kind of incorporate an early game into my repertoire. Obviously, you know what? If you were to get, I've been saying this for quite some time now, actually for the last couple of weeks, that the teams that are given over 2 touchdowns have been winning their games outright. Like, I'd say about 95% of them this year. So if you were to feel froggy and get maybe 6 teams in a money line parlay and get it to pay close to even money, Sparty's definitely a good acquisition to that ticket.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think there's any way in hell that Michigan State loses the game.
No.
But if you look at, Maryland recently, the last 5 or 6 games, they got blown out by West Virginia and Michigan, okay?
Yep.
But then, they kind of hung in there with Ohio State. That ended up being a 21-point win for Ohio State, but they hung in there the whole game. They lost to Penn State by a point, and then Iowa only beat them by 16. And, they only lost by a touchdown to Wisconsin. So they've learned how to lose games closer,
yep.
which I guess, on the progression of trying to win is a step up. But I don't know, man. I just don't like Michigan State. So.
All right, sounds good. So I'm going to kick it over to you. I'm feeling them, like I said, you get them under 10 points, get them under 7, get them in a money line situation, whatever. But 15 points is just a nasty number, and it's very hard to cover that because you actually got to win by 17 realistically.
Yeah.
The way the numbers fall as far as football is concerned. So that's where I'm at right now. Very, very, very light lean on that one, just to incorporate a early game into my repertoire. So which game are you looking at next, Dan?
Well, if we want to talk early, I'll actually talk a game that I thought I was going to play, that I really liked, and I've actually crossed it off my board, which I figure we'll talk about it because I did a lot of homework. But I had originally liked Duke -3 at home against Pitt.
Yep.
But the more I look at it, I gotta fall back. I still kind of like Duke here, but both these teams for their bowl game potentials, this is a big game. I mean, Duke plays nobody after this, right? It's Pittsburgh, then it's at Virginia and at Wake Forest, so they really need this win. But so does Pitt for their bowl potential. Again, Pitt has played. If you look at their schedule, and that's what really threw me off it. If you look at Pitt's schedule, it's actually been, pretty tough. I mean, you're talking about losses, a 3-point loss at Iowa.
Yep.
A touchdown loss against North Carolina, and then, Notre Dame lost by 12.
Sure.
So even though they've lost 2 in a row, I had to fall back on this. I think it's more of a coin flip now than when I originally went in. So, that's just my 2 cents about that game. I think Duke probably finds a way to win, but again, I had to fall back off it.
All right, gotcha, man. Gotcha. Looking at the other earlies, guys, we'll just announce them here. You got number 11, Florida, going into South Carolina. Florida -7.5 with that incredible defense that I keep talking about. You got Kansas coming into his 0-9, going into number 15, TCU. And TCU is -40. 5 points in that affair, man. You got the Ohio State University, number 3, going into the Fighting Illini today. They're given 17 points. I just don't know if they have any business giving anybody 17 points on the road the way they've been playing.
And Josh Doxson is playing.
Yes.
That was a misunderstanding that said he was going to be out for, the year. Whoever reported that should be fired because he's suiting up and playing fine.
Oh, all right, cool. My man West Coast Handicapper is up early listening to us this morning, and he loves your West Virginia play. So
thanks, sir.
Big ups to him on that, and we will keep it moving from there, man. So as far as the 12 o'clocks, those are the 12 o'clocks. There's actually two more. I'm sorry, just one at 12:30. You got Purdue coming into number 18, Northwestern. Northwestern has been playing some really good ball these days, man. They've won a bunch of games in a row now. They are given 15 with an under over 49. If you were to do what I was talking about, one of those big fun money line parlays, where you get a bunch of teams that pays even money or better, probably a good shot to add Northwestern into that as well, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, against Purdue, and I'm sorry, what's the line we have on this right now?
15 points, brother.
Yeah, 15's a little much. And I know that, Northwestern's back and they won 2 in a row after getting blasted by Michigan and Iowa. But they only beat Nebraska on the road by 2 points, and they only beat Penn State at home by 2 points.
Got it.
You cannot. Yeah, like you said, if you want to add this into a money liner and throw them in there, but even so, I'm still a little concerned that, I don't know, there's something about this game that screams that Purdue's going to get way up for it. I know they're 2-7. I can't touch this game, actually.
I feel you on it, but I just don't think they lose the game in particular, man.
Probably not, but I think you might be nail biting it. And I don't need another ulcer.
Right, man. Speaking of teams that were not a nail-biter last week, how about the number 23 North Carolina is playing Miami. North Carolina minus 13, under-over of 67. You got Wake Forest at number 4, Notre Dame. Notre Dame minus 26.5 with an under-over of 52. And if it ended today, Notre Dame would be in the playoffs, Dan.
Hey, wait. What did I say?
You did say that.
I did say that. And me and our guest last week, we were both saying that Notre Dame was going to be in the number 4 seed. Look, I think Notre Dame will win this game by 40.
Okay.
But also, the thing to keep in the back of your mind is it could be a classic trap. Okay. I don't think they'll lose. And in my mind, I'm thinking to keep that number 4 ranking, they need to, beat the hell out of opponents like this.
Yep.
But it just had, 26.5 now?
26.5, brother.
If you get 10 points off that.
Get it down to 16.5. That's
I think you laugh there. I think they win by 3 touchdowns, and they cannot play well and win by 3 touchdowns.
Well, here's the deal with Notre Dame. You got to remember, guys, is that number one, that they're going to have one less game because there's no conference champion since they are an independent. So that last week, the first week of December, where all these other teams are going to be playing conference championships, ACC, SEC, Big Ten, and all that, they're going to be sitting home watching. And that's just one last game that the committee's going to have to watch, while Notre Dame's just sitting there and can't do anything about it, Dan. And if you think...
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Because they're Notre Dame, it doesn't affect them as much as a TCU, a Baylor. Honestly, because Notre Dame draws like crazy. And Notre Dame does have the benefit, because they don't have that schedule, their last game of the year at Stanford. So if they win that, they cement it.
I get it. But you know what? The Big 12 also does not have a conference championship game. So they got to sit back and watch along with Notre Dame. And if you go back to last year in the college football championship, all 4 teams were conference champions, Dan. Just remember.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I normally would agree. It's just Notre Dame is that team, and I know a lot of people are probably sitting here thinking I'm like a huge Notre Dame fan. I'm not. I grew up not even really liking Notre Dame at all. It's just the fact of the matter. Let's just be realistic. Notre Dame is a huge draw. They sell out every single game, no matter where they play. You could put Notre Dame up in the Arctic Circle, and they would sell out that game. So, if you don't think the committee factors in monetary things, they definitely are.
Oh, definitely, man. Number 1, Clemson, 9-0 going into Syracuse. Clemson minus 29 points. A lot of points for them to be given Syracuse. I know Syracuse is 3-6 and 1-4 in the ACC, but I just think that's a hell of a lot of points to give on the road, man. 29 points. I don't know if
this
Clemson's
reminds me of when they played LSU.
Okay.
Remember that? It was that last week of September. And everybody was riding LSU. LSU was like a 3-touchdown favorite going into the Carrier Dome. And they won, but they won by 10.
Yep.
Syracuse at home in that dome. Look, they hung close with Pitt.
Sure. Right.
They hung there with LSU. So, look, I think Clemson wins this game pretty easily. But 4 touchdowns?
4
touchdowns on the road.
Over 4 touchdowns, Dan. Over 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
A lot of points.
I can't do it.
A lot of points. You know what? They're probably...
I almost like Syracuse with the points.
That's what I'm saying, man.
But I won't play it, though.
Yeah, you definitely can't bet against Clemson. But when you look at... they're probably going back to that 58-0 drubbing of the U and thinking that it's going to be kind of a similar situation here. But I don't know, man. I just can't see. And I'm in some boards in Las Vegas, it's up to 30.5 points.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of crazy because besides for the drubbing of the U, they haven't really dominated. I mean, Walford, Appalachian State, okay, blowouts at the beginning of the year, great. At Louisville, they won by 3. Notre Dame, they won by 2. Georgia Tech, they won by 21. BC, they won by 17. Then you had the Miami absolute murdering. But you know what? Miami, that's Miami. Yes. And then NC State, remember, that was on the road. That was only 15 points, 56-41. And then the Florida State game last week. And you're talking about coming off Florida State going to Syracuse, you could have a little bit of a letdown. 30 points seems insane to me.
Seems like a lot, doesn't it?
I mean, and you know what? If you get that up to 40, I think you can laugh.
I think so too, man. So, all right, Dan. So, looking at the slate here, I mean, there's definitely a lot of games here, man.
Yeah, I mean, the next one that I have is a 4-o'clocker.
All right. Before you do that, though, Dan, we're going to take a quick break and just put your stuff on mute, man, and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes, guys. We are the SBTV Nation.
How would you like to win big cash in sports gaming? Well, now you can. Visit TKWins.com. With over 20 years of experience, they can get you the winning edge you need. Specializing in winning selections on all major sporting events. NFL, NCAA football, NBA, NCAA basketball. Why wait? Check out their free daily winners online. It's never been easier to visit TKWins.com today and start winning. TKWins.com. Consistently picking the winners for you.
Have a product, service, or website to advertise on the biggest show in the world? The SBTV Nation podcast reaches tens of thousands of the best sports fans on the planet in over 194 countries worldwide. Take your business to the next level by advertising with us. Call us now at 872-529-SBTV or email us at sbtvnation@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the biggest show in the world, the SBTV Nation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, the SBTV Nation and SBTVNation.com. Dan, you said you got a 4 o'clock game that you're looking at.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, and talk to me about your 4 o'clocker, man.
You know where I'm going with this because I've gone with them a fair amount, and but we're going with them Kentucky Wildcats.
Wow, man!
Plus 3.5 at Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Here, Kentucky has not looked good, right? They've lost 4 in a row, but let's look at who the 4 in a row is. Home against Auburn by a field goal.
Okay.
At Mississippi State by 18. Tennessee at home. Tennessee killed them fine, but they hung in that game until the end. Fourth quarter got them. And then the loss to Georgia.
Gotcha.
None of those teams are Vanderbilt. The closest team to Vanderbilt that I see on this Kentucky schedule reminds me very, very similarly to that game against Mizzou. Okay, Missouri at the time was playing like one of the nation's best defenses. They were holding them down, and Kentucky managed to win that game 21-13. You give me the 3.5 points, I'm going to go to the ATM.
Wow. Okay, man. All right, so you're getting on board with Kentucky once again.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Ride or die, baby.
You're not feeling salty with them yet.
No, look, I should have known better at Georgia. Georgia was due to figure something out on offense.
Yep.
And that was my mistake. I don't think that Vanderbilt, you're talking 3.5. Vanderbilt could win this game, 7-6.
Yep.
Vanderbilt's lucky when they get a touchdown, guys.
Vanderbilt has a really good defense, though, I noticed.
I know. I know.
They made Florida look silly for a long time in that particular game. Florida beat themselves for the most part. Florida ended up emerging and winning the game. Don't ask me how with a backup kicker, but they ended up winning that game 9-7. But Vanderbilt, their defense kept them into that game the entire time in the swamp.
Yeah, but Florida's offense doesn't do anything for me. And you're also talking about a Vanderbilt team that, Houston smashed them 34-0. They've lost to South Carolina 19-10. You're talking about a team that lost at home to Western Kentucky to start the season. I just think that they're ripe for the picking. And even so, when you look at these games, the games that they win, let's cross the Austin, PA game off because I think me and you and some boys can go out and beat Austin, PA. But even the games they win are even Middle Tennessee, right? 4 points.
Yep.
Missouri, 10-3 win. I got to think Kentucky scores at least 2 touchdowns. I really do. So I'm Kentucky plus 3.5 is where I'm at with this game.
My man G Rose is saying he likes Florida State today. Hey, I wish you the best of luck with that particular game, brother. A couple of other games of note here, Dan. I know we're talking about the stuff that we like, but just want to give you just a quick glimpse of what's going on as far as, these teams moving forward and what they got to play for and all that. Number 2, Alabama is coming into number 17, Mississippi State. Alabama 8-1, Mississippi State 7-2. Alabama -8 with an under over of 51, and they are favored right now, along with The Ohio State University, to win the whole thing. So basically, any of these teams right now, Dan, that are trying to get into the playoffs, they have to win out. Period. You can't lose a game this far into the season and make it into the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. So Alabama, I know that they know this in the back of their brain. That front four and their defense is absolutely outstanding. The one challenge that they're going to have a little bit here is Dak Prescott, because he can move around with his legs, and he is a playmaker. So just keep that in the back of your brains, man. If you got a pocket passer versus a mobile quarterback like Dak Prescott, it poses little bits of challenges for the defense. So
and no road SEC game is ever easy. I don't care how good you are. And look, I fully expect Alabama to win. And Irv, I think your teaser looks pretty good to me. But you know what? Miss State, even they're at home, they're still dangerous. But look, I expect Alabama to knock it off, but I would not, I would not make the play in Vegas.
No. I mean, even if you did a money line parlay with Alabama, you might be
all
right,
but
it's going to be a stomach ache, guys. So just if you want to be involved and you want to be drinking Pepto-Bismol all day long and doing all that stuff, then you might want to get involved in an SEC matchup like that. You got number 14 Michigan going into Indiana. Michigan -13 points. Michigan had a lot of questionable players. I don't know exactly what happened, but there was a whole group of them. It was first, second, and third stringers that were questionable for today's game, man. So what's your thoughts on any thoughts on Michigan?
Yeah, I saw the same thing, and obviously I would have to wait till I see a full injury report. But what's the line we have again?
13 points they're giving, brother.
Yeah, so Indiana is not, they're not a good team by any stretch, but they lose close.
Yep.
They are, like we said, they are a pain in the ass. A touchdown to Iowa. I know Michigan State blew them out. Close game Rutgers, fairly close game at Penn State, and a close game at Ohio State. Obviously Michigan, a very defensive-minded team. I don't feel the need to get into this at all. I could see Indiana keeping it somewhat close.
Okay.
If you want to throw Michigan in a money line, I guess.
I'm totally with you on that. Michigan is, Michigan's dope. Obviously, defensively. Offensively, they're okay. But Indiana has been a thorn in the side of a lot of different teams, especially in this conference, and especially versus The Ohio State University, where they could have almost beat them in their building. So looking at all these players here, guys, that we were talking about earlier, you got a linebacker, a couple of linebackers, couple wide receivers, couple defensive linemen, running back, everybody here. They're all upgraded to probable for today's game. So most likely they're all going to play today, but they were questionable, Dan, and it was undisclosed. So I wonder, maybe it was academics, maybe they got in trouble, maybe they
it could be something like that. But we also have to, the other thing that I don't love about this game is Michigan doesn't play great on the road. They had the loss to Utah.
Yep.
Maryland 28-0, but if you remember that, their offense looked really bad in that game. It's just Maryland is pitiful. And then, the last game on the road was Halloween at Minnesota, and they won by a field goal.
Yep.
That's why 15 points here just seems a little much, but if you got to do it, best of luck to you.
Absolutely. SMU is coming in at number 20, Navy. Navy -21 points. Navy with that triple option has been outstanding. I can't wait to watch the Navy game when they go into Houston to play. And I believe that's next week or the week after. Number 8, Oklahoma State is going into the Iowa State Cyclones. Oklahoma State -13.5 with an under-over of 60.5 points. Be careful with Oklahoma State coming off that big win last week versus TCU. They're on the road laying double digits, which Iowa State could score, guys. just keep that in the back of your brains. I mean, they did put up 21 versus TCU like in the first half. I know that they put up over 20 points versus Baylor and actually were in that game at the end. That's where Seth Russell got injured. Iowa State at home might be a pretty good value plus the points, Dan.
I don't know.
You're not feeling it, man.
I think Oklahoma State might put up 70 on them.
All right. Yeah, they do have that prolific offense that is absolutely
and you're talking about a team that last week, and I know it was on the road, but I would say that Oklahoma State's offense is better than Oklahoma's.
Okay.
Obviously Oklahoma's got a better defense, and Oklahoma beat them 52-16.
Yep.
I think Oklahoma State has watched that tape, knows exactly where to attack. Yeah, I don't like a 3-6 Iowa State team at all.
That's a 3:30 Eastern Standard Time start, guys. These are just like leans right now. I'll tell you exactly what I'm feeling and what I'm getting involved in later on, when we close the show out, man. But moving down to this one here, number 21 Memphis at number 24 Houston. Houston minus 6.5, under over of 70.5 points. Memphis coming off of the loss last week to the Naval Academy where they got stomped.
Oh, yeah.
Stomped. And I
really would love to see Navy win out.
Yeah.
Be a one-loss team. Obviously, they're not going to get into the playoff.
That would be so dope if they ever did, man.
Oh, my God. I would just, if I was like the president, I would make an executive order that, if Navy's a one-loss team, they got to get in. Because, just because, and I would love to see them, like triple option Ohio State to death in a playoff game.
I know. That'd be great, man.
But... Yeah, I mean, Memphis suffering. That's a bad loss. Let's face it, 45-20 against Navy is a bad loss at home.
Yeah, right.
Now you got to go on the road to Houston, Houston number 16 in the country, undefeated.
Yep.
But there were some coaches polls and things like that were still, hyping up Memphis over Houston, saying they were the better team, which would put a big chip on my shoulder.
Of course.
I think Houston gets it done today. I don't like the 6 points.
I don't like the 6 point either, but I think this will be going to be kind of a track meet back and forth. You're going to see Greg Ward Jr. going absolutely ham. All you fantasy guys out there, you might want to get involved with a lot of players on both these.
Yeah, I think the over looks pretty good here.
70.5.
That could be first half. I thought that was the first half over,
70.5 points. Arkansas is coming into number 9 LSU ski. LSU minus 7, under over a 54 points. And this is a game that I really like. And I like the LSU Tigers in Death Valley on prime time. Arkansas coming off that big crazy win last week versus Ole Miss with the 25-yard lateral and on fourth down, and ended up winning the particular game. They won for 2 points and got it at the end. I like LSU in this spot, not only to cover the spread, but I like them as a money line situation as well.
I'm right there with you. I think obviously LSU coming off, getting punched in the mouth.
Yep.
But this is Death Valley. Saturday night. They don't lose here. I can't remember what the record is. Something like 44-3 Saturday night games.
Oh, wow.
I think they take Arkansas to the woodshed.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a really big lean for me, man. I really like LSU in this spot. Bounce back, heated. Fournette probably goes absolutely ham in his game. Really like LSU today to get the job done. I'm looking at a lot of night stuff here. You've got Oregon coming into number 7 Stanford, the tree. The Cardinal, man. I love the mascot, the tree. That's hilarious.
That's great.
Stanford is, you know what? I like all the different variations of it, too. And you know what? He's got, like, no arms. He just kind of got to just jump and bounce around.
He's just chilling, man.
Oregon 6-3. Still do have a really good and effective and efficient offense in Oregon. I want to say they're one of the top in all of college football as far as yards per game, man. Oregon, if I'm looking at them correctly here, going down points per game. I want to say they average maybe like somewhere along the lines of 42, 43 points. Oregon actually 42.2 points per game.
Yeah, they're great against bad teams.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Going into Stanford today, though, if there's ever a time where Stanford can beat the snot out of Oregon, I'm sure they'll want to take it, especially that they're trying to get into the college football playoff. I think it's going to be a tighter game than everybody thinks, but I think Stanford emerges as a victor in this particular game. What's your thoughts?
Oh, man, I love Stanford here.
You do?
This reminds me of kind of like when Utah went into Oregon.
Okay.
And everybody's like, oh, it's going to be kind of a close game. Utah's good. They'll probably win 62-20.
Yeah.
This is an Oregon team that lost to Washington State.
Yep.
This is, an Oregon team that obviously had that loss at Michigan State. Now, I don't think Michigan State's very good. And they scored 4 touchdowns at Michigan State, 20 points against Utah. Stanford on offense against this pitiful Oregon defense, it's going to be like early Thanksgiving. They're going to carve that turkey. I mean, I think this is going to be a crazy game. I think Stanford really gets it done today.
All right.
Really gets it done, especially at home. And like you said, how many times has Stanford got beaten by Oregon where it's mattered?
I know.
And this is a chance to give it back to them.
This is their time. And you know what? If they're up by 2 touchdowns, don't be surprised if they're airing the ball out to go up by 3 touchdowns.
Oh, they have to. Look, they're the number 7 team in the country. If they come out and they absolutely smoke Oregon today, the chances of them possibly getting up to 5 or 6, depending on what happens, in these Big 12 games and things like that, very, very favorable. If there's one, there's a chance that obviously if Stanford wins out too, because they play Notre Dame, the winner of that Stanford-Notre Dame game will probably get in.
Sure.
We'll probably get in, if they both win out until that point.
Yeah, because Stanford would have to go through Utah at the end as far as the Pac championship.
Right.
So.
You would have to, but right now, I mean, obviously Stanford is superior to the Utes. It would be, I think it would be a good game. But yeah, I think that Stanford's a very good team. That offense will show you some things today against this pitiful Oregon defense.
All right, Dan. All right, sounds good. Moving on to the next game we have on the ticket is the one that your boy is kind of feeling. I don't want to say kind of. I really like this spot. And a lot of you people are going to think I'm kind of crazy here, but you got number 12, Oklahoma, who is 8-1. Going into number 6, Baylor, who is 8-0. Baylor minus 2.5 points with an under-over of 77.5 points, Dan. You know what? All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, is basically, I'm looking at these teams. I've looked at the way they've been playing. Obviously, Baylor is with their starting quarterback, Seth Russell. They got Jarrett Stidham at the helm as quarterback. The thing is that he has not seen a defense like Oklahoma. And my pick for the day is this. Oklahoma Sooners today, brother.
You're insane.
I love it. I think they're gonna murder Baylor.
Oh man, I couldn't be the other way on this. Couldn't be more the other way.
Dan, you got to take a look at. You got to look at this and see exactly what you're dealing with here with Oklahoma. They are the number 21 defense in all of college football. They are the best defensively sound team in the Big 12, and their offense is outstanding. They've averaged like 50 to 60 points in the last 4 games, brother.
It definitely is.
And let me finish real quick. They sack you nonstop in these games. They average almost 4 sacks a game. If they start putting pressure on this kid has not seen this yet, man. I'm telling you, this Oklahoma team is pretty damn good. I'd like them to win this game. I'm going to take them money lined. They're plus 2.5. I don't really care. 2.5. What is that? You might as well just take them to win the game outright. As a matter of fact, Dan, if you could find me an adjusted line in Las Vegas, I might have to call somebody out there. Because I think Oklahoma wins by 2 touchdowns. I really do. But talk to me about what's on your brain with this.
I think that the Baylor quarterback is underrated. Talking about a kid that has thrown for a bunch of touchdowns. I know he hasn't faced a defense like Oklahoma, but the quarterback went down. The offensive line didn't go down, and Baylor's offensive line is still.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it might be second or third best in the country.
Yep.
This game in Baylor, and Oklahoma has such a habit of crapping their pants on national TV in a big game.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest.
This is the biggest. This is the biggest. I mean, this is the biggest game that Oklahoma's played in a long time. I get what you're going with the stats, but when you look at who they've played, because they didn't play, they're playing Baylor today, but they haven't played them yet, obviously, TCU or Oklahoma State. They played Akron. They had a good win at Tennessee. That's probably their best win of the year so far, by far. They won by a touchdown. Tulsa, okay. West Virginia at home. At Texas, that was the loss. K-State blowout, big deal. Texas Tech blowout, they looked impressive there. And everybody is murdering Kansas. And then it's Iowa State, who's 3-6. So while you're saying that Oklahoma hasn't seen, Baylor hasn't seen a team like Oklahoma has, even with the backup quarterback, has not seen anywhere close to what the Bears can do. So I just think being home is very beneficial in this game. Look, I'm not going to put money on it, so I wish you the best of luck, but I still have to think that it's not going to go your way.
Big ups to my son, by the way, for reminding me to cue up the Oklahoma music for that particular pick in that particular situation.
You're going to need the band to run onto the field for that one.
I don't know, man. You know what you did? You mentioned two common opponents there, Dan, Kansas State. And last I remember in prime time, Kansas State was hanging there with Baylor almost the entire game. And what did Oklahoma do to Kansas State? Wasn't it 55-0 or something like that?
That it was.
All right. So, hey, there's a common opponent right there in Oklahoma. Oklahoma showed them what time it was, man.
Fair enough. Hey, I'm wishing you the best of luck. I don't know, man. You couldn't pay me. Like if someone was like, "Hey, I'm going to give you money. Go to Vegas. Go to the window at the MGM. Put it on this game." Yep. I'd be like, "No, I'm good, man. You keep it. Put it back in your wallet."
Are you interested in this Iowa team who is number 5 hosting Minnesota today? Minnesota 4-5, Iowa 9-0, Iowa minus 9.5, under over 45.5 points.
Look, I think Iowa probably takes him to the wood chip, but again, I'm not playing it because this is Minnesota's championship game.
Yep.
Minnesota pretty much has to win out to even get a bowl game.
Okay.
And, Iowa, they're coming off kind of I don't want to call it shaky, but 35-27 at Indiana.
Yep.
That pain in the ass Indiana team. And the game before, they beat down Maryland. But it was 31-15. It wasn't as close as the score, but obviously that's what matters. So I'm going to stay away from Iowa. I think they win pretty handily. But there's a night game that I like a lot better.
Well, Iowa's probably another one to add into a extensive money line parlay.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see them losing.
The job done. Which game are you looking at for tonight, Dan?
Yeah, so the game that I really like, and you can call me crazy, is I love Washington State plus 10 at UCLA today.
My kid has been hyping me up about this Washington State team, man. Talk to me about them. 6-3, 4-2 in the pack, and going into number 19 UCLA. UCLA minus 10, kid.
I know, and that's a little that line is very thick.
Okay.
You're talking about like a Wash State team that has played extremely well as of late.
Yep.
At Oregon, they won. Okay. Oregon State, they won. At Arizona, they won. Stanford, they lost by 2 points in a heartbreaker, but then they came back the next week and they beat Arizona State. Look, UCLA is a very good football team. They're 7-2. They're 18th in the country. They're coming off that tremendous win at Oregon State. But, you've seen UCLA, they've either lost close. They lost Arizona State at home. At Stanford they lost. And then the game at Cal was closer than the 40-24 score, and they barely got by Colorado at home, 35-31.
Yep.
Washington State, on the other hand, we just went over the record, and even in the losses, it's been really close. And again, Washington State, their next two games are at Utah and at USC. They're going to be, that's UCLA. At Utah and at USC. So again, this could be that classic trap. It's like, hey, it's Washington State. They've been overlooked all year. We have to go at Utah and at USC. That's what UCLA is probably thinking about. So I really like Washington State plus the points.
All right, sounds good. Somebody just hit me up on a direct message here on Twitter. My man, Wayne Yarborough. What's going on, man? He's asking me about Middle Tennessee, and he'd like some info on this. They are playing today. They're giving 5.5 to Florida Atlantic, the Owls. Florida Atlantic's is 2-7, and Middle Tennessee is 4-5. This is a Conference USA matchup, man. I'm looking at this particular game, and I got to be honest with you, I have no real what's the word I'm looking for?
I got advice. You here. We're talking about, an FAU team that, 2-7. Their wins were against FIU and Charlotte.
Yep.
I'm sorry. What was the number on Middle Tennessee?
Middle Tennessee minus 5.5, brother.
Yeah. So I'm not playing this game, but I think Middle Tennessee is good today, even on the road. You're talking about an FAU Owls team that even at home, Marshall stomped them, Rice is beating them. They got killed by Buffalo at home. Middle Tennessee obviously coming off a big win.
Yep.
That 3-pointer against Marshall. I think they keep it going.
Yeah, both of these defenses, guys, just so you know, give up over 400 yards per game. So you're probably going to see a lot of scoring back and forth. But Middle Tennessee State gives they average about 452 yards offensively.
And again, Middle Tennessee, if they win out, will be 7-5 and get into a bowl game.
Interesting. All right, man. So sounds good, Dan. But that pretty much does it for the collegiate football, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Looking at this guy, so what I'm feeling today, man, I'm definitely feeling LSU to win their game outright. I'm feeling the Oklahoma Sooners to win. And then, a pretty extensive money line parlay with a bunch of different teams that we talked about. A bunch of the heavier favorites. I'm talking Michigan State, Northwestern. Probably end up adding something like I don't know so much about Michigan. Don't really like that one. But maybe like a LSU you get involved with. Iowa you could throw in there as well. I don't think any of those teams lose the games on the field at all. So that's pretty much it for me, Dan.
Yeah, no. Look, I'm going to roll with the West Virginia, the Kentucky, the LSU, Stanford, and Washington State. The only other thing that I am looking at is a college basketball game that starts at noon.
All right.
I'm liking Northern Iowa minus 7.5 at home against Colorado State.
And that would be their first game of the year, correct?
That would be. So look, guys, I've just started to get into the obviously college basketball, the opener last night. We lost on Kentucky, but we had a pretty good year last year. But I'm very, very light, guys. Very light in the college basketball ticket right now.
I don't blame you, man, because you don't know what you're going to get out of these teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Northern Iowa, they don't have any returning seniors. They have a junior and a bunch of sophomores, so they don't have a lot of freshmen. The freshmen they do, they have a monster who's 6'11", who looks pretty good. I expect this Northern Iowa team to be, not anywhere close to what they were last year. I think their RPI, they're ranked like 85 coming into the year. I think they could be better than that. But again, we're going very light on these.
All right, got you guys. So that's pretty much going to do it for us. I am looking forward to cutting out of here, going to the grocery store, buying all kinds of madness for my day because I will be on my couch with 3 computers and my TV Actually, not 3 computers. 1 computer with 3 monitors. I'm going to have my little workout mat so I could stretch all day and do some working out while I'm watching some football. I'm going to be eating all kinds of nasty food, man. And I know that's kind of incorrect, to be eating.
You know what, man? As long as you're doing something, I'm just going to be eating all the nasty food and drinking all the beer and not doing any of the working out. I just put that, I just do the 8-screen split screen on the 60-inch TV, get it all going, and just have a field day.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah, so I'm looking very much forward to it. I mean, my day goes from 12 noon till 12 o'clock tonight. Actually, probably
might even later because I watched State 10:45, kid.
I know, and you got the Utah Utes as well, man.
I know.
Utah Utes. I mean, guys. Just so you know, college football, none of these teams that are trying to make the playoffs can lose. They all are in must-win situations. There's nobody that's going to lose a game in the next couple of weeks that will get into the playoffs, in my humble opinion, and I think I'm 100% correct on that.
I believe you are, too.
You know what I mean? So, looking at who retweeted the show today, I got Jason Riley, SD Grind, Jeff Ryan, Rick Lopez, JC, hashtag SBTV Nation. What's up, my man? How you doing, brother? I got Long Woo out there. I got Mike. I got Fast Eddie, KMVU, Christos, Sirach King J, C. Rodriguez Jr., my man G. Rose. What's going on, man? Good luck with Florida State today. Holiday, got my man Urban, OJFB, Lone Star Hombre, all the way in Houston, Texas. What's up, man? We tore it up last night on Ralph Cooper's show. We got the Dream out there retweeting us. What's going on? Joseph Del Rosario, Wayne Yarborough. Good luck with that game that you're getting involved in as far as Florida's concerned. Got Benjamin Rowe, Vegas Girl 92661, who has one of our SBTV tank tops and is wearing it to Las Vegas. I got Woots GG. I got Angelo Nunez, who is the king and champ of Freaky Friday. I got Tip Talker, hashtag SBTV Nation, Snoopy Betts, AB Lent, MC Money, Maurice Dante, and my man BT. Guys, just in case you don't know, we're the biggest show in the world. Having an absolute ball every single day. We love you to death. Go out there. Go easy. Do your own homework. Take your own plays. Make all your dreams a damn reality and get that money. Let's go.